The first thing I noticed about Stalker was that sound told a separate story. While in modern films, sound is mostly used to present realism, cutting-edge technology placing its audience into visceral environments, Tarkovsky uses it to convey an emotion. Singling out one specific sound that the audience will remember, or not using any sound at all to build tension. There's something uniquely terrifying about the way Stalker conjures its mystery through sound, forcing its audience to be on guard, or they might miss it. Andrei Tarkovsky is a Russian filmmaker who, only having released 7 feature films, is considered to be one of the greatest filmmakers. Sadly, his life ended a couple years after Stalker released, which I'll talk about more later. Famed critic Roger Ebert once said that Tarkovsky uses length and depth to slow us down, to edge us out of the velocity of our lives, to enter a zone of revere and meditation. I love this quote because it accurately describes the focus of Tarkovsky's films. Ebert spoke carefully when he said, "a zone of meditation." For those of you who have seen Stalker, you understand how this is a sly reference to the focus of this video. Before diving any further into what I've learned from this film, I want to briefly discuss the events of the movie, for those of you who haven't seen it, or perhaps it's been a while since you have. Though, I would recommend watching this film before this video. In the near future, an area of Russian wilderness has been dubbed by the authorities as the Zone, a mysterious place where rumor is that the few who enter never return. Our protagonist is the nameless Stalker. A stalker is someone who guides people through the zone to a place of power and transcendence, known as the Room, that grants those who enter their innermost desires. On this particular journey, our stalker is guiding 2 men whose code names are the Professor and the Writer. The Professor desires to discover reason in a place shrouded in mystery and godlike reverence, while the Writer seeks inspiration that the bleak world outside no longer grants him. The stalker's intentions for journeying into this dangerous place are initially unclear. We learn on the way, and in a beautiful climatic speech, that he wants people to believe in the zone and the power it possesses. His distress lies in a world without faith. Lingering in the zone has affected him, resulting in a mutation in his daughter, who was born unable to walk, as well as other abilities. He's also been to prison for what he does. His life is committed to the zone. So when the 3 men reach their destination, the transcendent room, and they choose not to enter, in disbelief or in fear, it torments our stalker. I was recently recommended the film and enjoyed it very much, so much I was inspired to research Tarkovsky's life, his work, and of course, watch his other films. Something I've noticed, and something that Tarkovsky is often critiqued for, is that his films lack structure or depth in a tangible plot. While this can be seen as a negative, it's something I've come to love about his work, and it's taught me a lot about filmmaking and movies in general. Tarkovsky seeks to absorb his audience. Take Stalker, for example, referring back to what I said earlier about how it uses sound to convey emotion and tension rather than create realism. How it keeps its audience on guard, feeling as if they might miss it, whatever it is. However, there is nothing to miss. At the end of the film, our 3 characters don't enter the room. There's no great answer uncovered. The zone is still, if not more, a mystery when the film ends. So why did I enjoy this movie so much? Why haven't I stopped thinking about the long takes of empty wilderness in the zone? Because Stalker's atmosphere, even in 2019, is devious, captivating, and especially gorgeous. Built on long takes that are an average of 88 seconds each, expertly framed and emotionally significant. Stalker is incredibly well written. Characters have long, thought-provoking monologues about divinity and truth, often in response to each other's criticisms or as an observation of the environment, the vividly hypnotic zone entrapping the people inside, trying to keep them from reaching transcendence, simultaneously hypnotizing its audience. After my first viewing, I planned to do an explanation video. I was excited to break down the film, but the more I absorbed this film, as well as experiencing a few of his other films, I felt as though my pursuit was going nowhere. There was a million things to say about his movies, and yet, not much at all. The ending shot of this film boils it down. A defeated human race staring into the abyss of unknowns, too afraid to enter it. Assigning any meaning besides what Tarkovsky has already confirmed felt meaningless. Stalker can be seen as a teleological study, posing the question, what is the effect of faith on society? Is the world this bleak because of a lack of faith, or is it a convenient excuse? The stalker seeks people who believe in the zone that has encapsulated his life because he hopes there is still faith in the world, whereas the writer believes there is no great mystery or transcendence because it justifies the bleakness of the world. And the professor, who's a scientist spending his life unraveling the mysteries of this world, wants to destroy the place that's brought chaos to what he perceives as order. Tarkovsky has confirmed this interpretation, stating, "The film is about the existence of God in man, and about the death of spirituality as a result of our possessing false knowledge." But if we've learned anything from Tarkovsky's work, it's that his films, often void of structure, create atmospheres in which the minds of the audience have room to wonder. David Lynch, whose work is very much inspired by Tarkovsky, once said, "I don't know why people expect art to make sense when life itself doesn't make sense." I feel as if Tarkovsky has uttered these very words. What makes Stalker a masterpiece is its distinct, masterfully crafted, spiritual atmosphere. I haven't stopped thinking about it. After this film, I watched The Mirror, a beautiful stream of conscience narrative that reflects Tarkovsky's own life. Among the similarities between this film and Stalker, I noticed that Tarkovsky doesn't always name his characters. We are given enough info to refer to different characters, the stalker, the writer, but there is no more importance assigned. I'm not going to claim that I understand the inner workings of this genius, but just like these films avoid classic film structure, not naming characters allows the audience to focus on what really matters: the atmosphere, the emotion displayed through sound and through imagery. It would be a mistake to make a video about Tarkovsky and not mention Stanley Kubrick.
Dave, do you mind if I ask you a personal question?
I could probably do a whole video just comparing their works. These two legendary filmmakers have similar filmmaking styles, but with completely different intent. Tarkovsky has stated that he hated 2001: A Space Odyssey, and while I was pondering this, it occurred to me the biggest difference between these two filmmakers is their religion. Kubrick is a self-proclaimed atheist, and Tarkovsky a Christian, which made his hatred for 2001 understandable. And 2001 is about godlike entities in our world who have no connection to humanity and capture a human in hopes of studying our species. It's a movie about evolution and the frightening future. Kubrick's films are works of art, but often void of emotion, whereas Tarkovsky, whether it's the zone in Stalker or the ocean in Solaris, represent God. And the intent of his films are to absorb you in an emotional atmosphere. And I think that is the reason Tarkovsky may be my personal favorite. Not only can you appreciate his beautiful work, but after the film is over, its atmosphere lingers with you. The true, great terror of the zone lies in the real world, concerning those who made this incredible film. Tarkovsky, his wife, and this actor who plays the writer, as well as the original cinematographer, all died several years after the film's release. Research has concluded that several of the filming locations used to make this movie were radioactive, slowly poisoning everyone on set. Had the filmmaking gone smoothly, this may not have been a problem, but they had to film the movie 3 times, with the first 2 having to be scrapped. If you want more info on this, I'd recommend watching Cinema Tyler's video on this film, where he talks in depth about the difficulty it took to make this movie, as well as the toll it had on its filmmakers. It's a tragedy, and it makes Stalker even more haunting. I urge everyone to watch this movie, and to explore the other works of Tarkovsky. It's a unique perspective of filmmaking that certainly plays its role in modern masterpieces, and will continue to be a case study for filmmakers of the future. I know I've certainly learned a lot from watching this film, and I hope that this video has helped shine light on his genius. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing, like the video, and share with other film junkies. See you next Sunday.